We are going to pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So today we have to continue the Citta Visuddhi, the purifications of consciousness. So in this chapter, today Dhamma Talk, I have to explain about temperament again. So how to decide other people's temperaments or our own temperaments? So today in these sections, we have another topic by eating, seeing, and so on. In the Visuddhimagga, it also mentioned different types of temperaments according to their eating styles and also what they see and so forth. So for about Raga Charita, lustful temperament, and Saddha Charita, faithful temperament. So they like eating rich sweet food. Also make round lumps, not too big. So that means neither too big nor too small, right? Also eat unhurriedly, also savoring various tastes and enjoying getting, they were enjoying getting new food. So that means they want to try many new things. So what about seeing? So they look long on seeing slightly pleasant objects. That means although it is not very powerful, desirable objects, not very strong or not very useful desirable objects, they will look long on seeing that kind of objects. Then size on trivial virtues and discount genuine faults. This is also their nature when seeing something. Then what about the next one? Dosa and buddhi. Dosa means hateful temperament, buddhi means intelligent temperament. So they were like rough and sour foods. They will make a lump that fill the mouth. That means full of mouth, right? Very big lump maybe. And they eat hurriedly and without savoring various tastes. Then they agreed when not getting food. So this is the way they eat. Then what about seeing? They will avoid looking long on seeing slightly pleasant objects. That means it's just normal or a little bit unimportant, then they will not see. They will avoid that kind of things. And they will pick up trivial faults and discount genuine virtues. So this is the way they see the things. Then we have the next group, Moha Charita and Vitakka Charita. So Moha is actually deluded temperament, Vitakka speculative temperament. So they have no settled choice. Then they may make small rounded lumps when eating, they will drop bits into dish. They will smear their face with foods. Also, when eating, they will think this and that. Their mind is unstable. So again, for about Moha and Vitakka Charita, for about seeing, they will copy what others do when seeing any object. For example, if other people say it's good, they will say good. If other people say it's bad, they will say it's bad. That is the way they behave. Then also, they will feel equanimity toward themselves. That is the nature of Vitakka Charita. So here, one more thing we have to say, sorry. These are just for informations. When we have psychic power to read other people's minds, we can know clearly. If we don't have this kind of psychic power, we cannot know it. Now we also have another things to decide what kind of temperament do we have. This is by the kind of states occurring frequently. So in our daily life, which kind of mind states arise most of the time? This is also important when we are going to talk about temperament. Okay? So there is a frequent occurrence of states according to the temperament. Then I will mention. The first one is Raga Charita. We also call lustful temperament. So in the lustful temperament, we have frequent occurrence of, they may have frequent occurrence of Maya, deceit. Then Satya, fraud. So here we have to explain a little bit more about Maya and Satya. Maya is actually concealing our own mistakes, our own weakness, or our own faults. This is called Maya. Then Satya, here we translate as a fraud. But in reality, Satya means we boast with non-existent quality. This is called Maya. Sometimes we are not rich. We pretend as a rich person or to be rich. Similarly, we are not good practitioners, but we wish people to know that we are good practitioners. Then if we cheat people or boast people, boasting, right? Boasting with non-existent quality. This is also called Satya. Then another one is bright mana. This one is very common. Everywhere we may have a mana. As long as we cannot attain headship, we may have mana bright. But there are some people, they have very strong mana. We can also say arrogance. They are arrogant. So again, evenness of wish, papicha. Actually here, when we talk about papicha, we also have to explain a little bit more about the nature of papicha. Papicha means wishing to get what we should not get, what we should not have. There are many different types of papicha. Sometimes we may expect more than we can do, more than we should. And this is also called papicha. Sometimes we just think other people's, for example, if we share something equally, we think that the food in other people's hand is, the food in other people's bowl are better. Or the clothes other people wear are better. We have this kind of mind. This is also called papicha. So anyway, papicha is very, very wide. Sometimes we want to get more than we should or more than we can do. This is also called papicha. So again, mahita, greedy. We can say like that. I mean, greediness or wish. This means too much greedy. So when we talk about papicha, this is actually evil wish. Yeah, mahita is, it's not our ability, but we need to get that one. We may have many aim, many ambition, many goal, but some of them are not really very possible for us. We aim this kind of things. All we cannot do, right? So for example, if possible, we are really trying, it's okay. Sometimes not trying, just expecting. This is also called mahita. So anyway, similar to that one, we have another one, asantutita, no contentment. When we talk about contentment, actually, we also have said before, we must have contentment with what we have got. We must have contentment with what we can do or what we can afford to purchase or to get. Then we must have contentment with whatever things suitable for us. This is called santuti. But if we are not like this is called asantuti, no contentment. So these are the sign of, we can say the sign of raga, lobha again. Another one is Fopri, Singam. Also, another one is personal vanity, Sepalayam. So these are the nature of raga. So it's very, very common in modern society. We wish to have many, many new things. Whatever things are updated, we wish to get. For example, people wish to have new tablets, new handsets, new iPhone, right? Many different things. Not only that, there are many, many new things. Every day we have new things, right? New products in the shop. For example, like a food, for example. So if we like many things, if we wish to have many different things, that means we have the nature of raga. We have lustful temperament. Then dosa. Dosa is called hateful temperament. So the person with hateful temperament may have anger. In Bali, we call dosa koda. Another one is enmity. This one is called upanaha. Another one is like a disparaging. Disparaging means we can also say mekho in Bali. Okay, one more thing we have to elaborate about mekho. Mekho is also actually can try it as an ingratitude towards good people. So sometimes we just think about our own quality. We just think about what we have done. We have never thought about what other people have done for us. So then we may not even say thank you, right? We don't know how to thank other people. This is also called mekha. Then palasa, domineering. People think I'm a high class, right? I'm higher than you. I'm better than you. So another one is envy. Envy means here we call isa. So we can also say jealousy, right? That is a material stinginess, which means unwilling to share our own properties. If we don't wish to share our own properties, this is called material. Not only that, we don't want to share our living place. We don't want to share our friends, our knowledge, our experiences. All the things can be considered as material. Then again, we have moha charita, which means deluded temperament. So people with deluded temperaments may have stiffness, torpor, agitations. So yeah, we can like a tina, meta, aradat, udacha, agitation. So worry, kukucha. Actually, if we talk about kukucha, we can also say like remorse or regret. So that means we have done something wrong, and then we repent. Sometimes we mix good opportunity, then also we regret. So this is called kukucha. Then vichikicha, uncertainty. We can also say doubts or skepticism. We may have a lot of doubts about the 3 trainings, the triple gems, about the past lives, future lives, present lives. We may have many doubts about the benefit of 3 trainings and so forth. If we have a lot of doubts, this means we have a deluded temperament. Then again, we have the Aranagahita. Sorry. So Aranagahita means here mentioned tenacious with refusal. Sorry, holding on tenaciously with the refusal to relinquish. Sorry, Aranagahita is actually holding on tenaciously. Another one is like a Gita, right? Refusal to relinquish. So that means if we have wrong view, we don't wish to relinquish. We don't wish to give up. This is also called moha. Then for about Satya. Okay, one more thing here I have to introduce. The first 3, raga, lustful temperament, dosa, hateful temperament, and also moha charita, this means deluded temperament. These 3 are purely unwholesome. Most of the time, we may have unwholesome minds when we have this kind of temperament. But now we have Satya. When we talk about Satya, it must be wholesome. Only with wholesome minds, the Satya, the faith, will associate. It also can be like a functional consciousness for like arhat, something like that. Okay, the main thing is when we have strong faith, they are mentioned free generosity, mutta jagata. Mutta jaga means we may not expect anything, we just offer what we wish to offer or what the receiver needed. So that is a call, mutta jaga. We don't expect anything to return. So another thing is Ariya Nandasana Kamata, desire to see noble ones. So that means if we know there's a noble person, we wish to see it. That means we have faithful temperament. Then Sadhamana, Sadhu Kamata, desire to hear good Dhamma. Yeah, we can also say desire to hear noble Dhamma. So as we have know now, if we say noble Dhamma, it includes Sila, Samadhi, Panya, 3 Saddhamma. Then again, it also mentioned one more thing about great gladness, Pamoja Bahulata. So here mean actually Bahula mean it rising frequently. This is called Bahula. So that means gladness, or we can also say like delight, will arise frequently. Then Asatata is opposite of previous one. In the very beginning, we have already mentioned deceit. Now here in this case, it is ingenuousness, Asatata, right? But no deceit, which means we don't conceal our mistakes or our weakness. Amayavita, honesty. So here, Maya in the previous groups, I have already talked about Maya. Maya means we boast with non-existent quality. So here, honesty. But if we don't have, we say I don't have. If we don't know, I don't know. We can say like that. Sometimes we have some problem in our community. Huh? Sometimes we don't know, but we pretend to be knowledgeable. That is it called Maya. If we honestly say, I don't know, I have to read again. In this case, Mayavita. Then again, Pasadanesu, Dhanesu, Pasado. Trust in things that inspire trust. So that means here Pasadaniya means we have stronger faith or devotion. We can also say like a devotion. So that means if we see something inspired for devotions, we may have strong devotion. In this case, we can understand that we have Satya Charita, faithful temperament. Then Buddhi Charita, intelligent temperament. So in the case of Buddhi Charita, they mention Sabajasata, readiness to be spoken to. Yeah, in this case, we can also say one thing about this obedience. Easy to listen. That means when someone is a very, very wise, he is mostly obedient. That means not very strong arrogance, not mana. So when we have very strong mana or like a conceit or arrogance, that means we are not wise enough yet. Then again, Kalyana Mitata, possessions of good friends. So which means we may have good friends. Good friend means we have already mentioned before, right? Virtuous, concentrated, honest, something like that, right? We have many qualities of the friends. So anyway, when we have good friends, it can be one of the supporting causes of our improvement. That is why we also need good friends. Then Bhojane Matanyuta, that means knowledge of the right amount of eating, which means moderating in food. Actually, we have already talked about moderating in food many times. Then again, we have the Sati Samajanya. Sati, mostly mindfulness, we translate as a mindfulness. Samajanya is mostly clear comprehension. So also give me mindfulness and full awareness. So later we have to talk about Samajanya Katha again. Then Jagriya Anuyukto, devotion to wakefulness. That means not oversleeping. At the 3 watch of the night, we may sleep only 1 watch of the night. This is called Jagriya Anuyukto. Savajani Yesu Thanesu Sanwego. The arising of sense of urgency about things that inspire a sense of urgency. This is one thing. Samvikasa ja yoniso badana. And wisely directed endeavor. So, briefly, when we are really wise, we have good quality. All things are good quality. Then again, we have Vitakka Charita. When we have a lot of Vitakka, it will be here, Bhasa, Bahulata, talkativeness. So we can imagine ourselves. If we are talkative, we can say, this is Vitakka Charita. Another one is Ganaramata, sociability. So, okay, here when we talk about Ganaramata means he wants to have a lot of associations, a lot of communications. Gana means grouping. He may join many different groups, this group, that group. Ganaramata. Because there is sociability. Then Kusala Nuyogi Arati. Burdened with devotion to the profitable. Which means when we are going to do good things, we are unwilling. Arati means not delight, not happy. So if we are not happy with doing wholesome deeds, there's Kovida Charita. Sometimes we don't wish to get right kusala. We just want to have some other things in return. That means this kind of person more vitaka. Then again, Anavatita Kichata. Failure to finish undertaking. That means we may have many duties. We never finish our duties. This is also called Vitaka Charita. Right day, Dumayata. Smoking by night. Actually here, if we say that day Dumayata means at night, a lot of unwholesome thoughts. At night, right? Imagine the smoke, this means unwholesome thoughts. Then Jiva, Bachalana, the Bachalana. Jiva means flaming by day. In the day, a lot of defilements. At night, just reviewing unwholesome, right? Reviewing the defilements. Then Hura Huran, Davana, running hither and thither. So this one is a very common, right? Mine is going here and there all the time. So these are the statements we can find in Visuddhimagga. Actually, there are many other things mentioned about temperaments in Visuddhimagga. about lodging, attendance, many other things were mentioned there. It will be very, very maxis. Briefly, although we have learned a lot of things, this one can help us to understand slightly. We cannot know what kind of temperament other people have. We can guess ourselves what kind of temperaments we have. After reading all these things, I can understand myself. I have mature temperaments, right? Anyway, so in modern society, mostly we may have mature temperaments. Okay, now again, we have to list out the meditation subjects before we are going to explain temperament and meditation subjects. So at the time of the Buddha gave different meditation subjects according to Dhamma practitioner's temperament. So it will mention many different types of different lists. Okay, now I will list out. There are 40 meditation subjects. But sometimes it also mentions 38 meditation subjects in the text sometimes. Later, I have to explain that one again. So 1, 10 recollections, anussati, such as recollection of the Buddha, recollection of the Dhamma, and so forth. Then 2, the 10 repositiveness meditations. There will be different types of calls. According to Mahasatipatthana Sutta, it just mentioned 9 channel ground. That means 9 types of calls. But in Visuddhimagga and Abhidhamma Sangha, it mentioned 10 types of calls. That means slightly different, right? 3, the 10 kasinas. So such as earth kasina, water kasina, fire kasina, one kasina, and so forth. Then the 4 sublime abidings, in Pali we call Brahma Vihara. This one is like a metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, sympathetic joy, upekha, equanimity. These 4 are also called Brahma Vihara, the sublime abiding. Then 5, the 4 immaterial jhanas. So each jhana may have different objects. That is why they are also called 4 immaterial jhanas. Then 6, the perceptions of repulsiveness in foods. This is separated one. 7, discerning the 4 elements. Altogether, we have 40 meditation subjects. So I have already said, from time to time, we can also say 38 types of meditation subjects. How is become 38? For example, the light kasina and anapana are similar. So sorry, light kasina and white kasina are similar. Sorry, light kasina and white kasina are similar. That's why they become one. Another thing is a space kasina and boundless space jhana are similar. That's why it becomes 38. So from time to time, we can also find 2 different types of information. That's why I just add here. So when we are practicing, there are two types of avaha. So here we talk about avaha, right? Upachara, avaha, apana, avaha, apanavaha. So that means There are some meditation subjects, they can attain only asset concentrations. There are some meditation subjects, by practicing, we can attain up to absorption concentration. So now here, we have three types of Pavida. Again, Eka Janika, Tiroka Janika, and Panchaka Janika, which means there are some meditation subjects, by practicing them, we can attain only one jhana. There are also some meditation subjects, by practicing them, we can attain up to 4 jhana. There are some subjects we can attain 5 jhanas. Here, when we talk about 5 jhanas, we have to understand 5-4 methods. So according to 5-4 methods, we can classify in 3 types of Pavida. So in the table, I have already listed out. The first group, 10 recollections. So among the 10 recollections, Buddha Nosati, recollection of the Buddha, Dhamma Nosati, recollection of the Dhamma, Sangha Nosati, recollection of the Sangha, Sila Nosati, recollection of morality, Jhaka Nosati, the recollections of generosity or sharing or offering, Devada Nosati, the recollection of divine qualities, Upasama Nosati, the recollections of peace, and Marana Nosati, recollection of death. So these 8 are similar to ultimate reality. We're going to say ultimate reality. For example, like a Buddha Nosati, Arahant, the one who is free from defilements, is really ultimate reality. So these are very similar to ultimate reality. That's why we can attain only asset concentration. So among the 10, 8 of them, by practicing 8 of them, we can attain only asset concentration. Kayakata Sati. Mostly in Pautoya, we just talk about 32 body parts. So by practicing 32 body parts, we can attain the first jhana. Then again, Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. According to 4-4 methods, it can be 4 jhana. According to 5-4 method, it can be 5 jhanas. The first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana, the fifth jhana. These all of them are material jhana. Then 10 kasina. So all the 10 kasina can take 4 jhana or 5 jhanas. Okay. According to 4-4 methods, it can be 4 jhana. 5-4 method, it will be 5 jhanas. Then 10 asubha. So by practicing one of the 10 asubhas, we can take the first jhana. Only the first jhana, because it's repulsive, undesirable objects. That is why we cannot attain very high jhana. According to this group, Brahma Vihara. So Brahma Vihara means, we have already talked about Brahma Vihara, Metta, loving kindness, Karuna, compassion, Mudita, sympathetic joy. By practicing that, according to 4-4 methods, up to that jhana, according to 5-4 method, up to 4 jhana. Then Upaka, come only the 4th jhana or 5th jhana. According to 4-4 methods, it will be the 4th jhana. According to 5-4 method, it will be the 5th jhana. Then again, we have 2 more. Ahare Patikula, repulsiveness in food. And also Chatu Dhatu Vavatana, descending of the 4 elements. Then we can attain up to asset concentration. Then Arupa jhana based on 9 kasinas. There can be only 4 immaterial jhanas. So these are the meditation subjects and their attainment. It depends on what we expect. If we expect to attain jhana, we must choose the subject that can attain jhana. If we wish to practice pure vipassana vehicle, we can start with asset concentration. For example, 4-element meditation. Then we can proceed practicing up to vipassana. So these are the practice we have to know. Another one is atikama, overcoming jhana fetters or overcoming the objects. Okay, here we have to understand, right? Overcoming jhana fetters. For example, the first jhana will overcome hindrances. This is very common. But for about the second jhana, it will overcome Vitakka Vichara or only Vitakka according to 5-fold methods. So that means different jhana will overcome different jhana fetters. According to 5-fold methods, the first jhana will overcome hindrances, second jhana will overcome Vitakka, applying thoughts, then that jhana will overcome Vichara, inertial application, sustained application. Then the fourth jhana will overcome piti, the third jhana will overcome the piti. Fourth jhana will overcome piti, sure. Then fifth jhana will overcome sukha. These are the way we have to understand. So overcoming the objects, it depends on immaterial jhana. In the immaterial jhana, every single jhana has different objects. For example, boundless space, boundless consciousness. So boundless space jhana will take boundless space as objects. Boundless consciousness will take boundless consciousness as objects. Then we have nothingness jhana. Nothingness jhana will take the absence of boundless space jhana. Then we have the last one, neither perception nor non-perception. The neither perception nor non-perception will take the peacefulness, the calmness of the third material jhana. Then it overcome different objects. So that means if we cannot overcome boundless space, we cannot attain boundless consciousness. If we cannot overcome boundless consciousness, we cannot attain nothingness jhana. If we cannot overcome nothingness jhana, we cannot attain neither perception nor non-perception. Then again, Vadana. So the 10 kasina should be expanded, and the rest of meditation objects should not be expanded. Then one more thing here, we have to know why. In the case of kasinas, for example, white kasina, for example, or maybe light kasina, when we are going to practice the psychic power, we have to expand white kasina or light kasina, especially, for example, divine eyes. Expand the light first. After that, we have to see the living beings like that. That is why when we have very bright lights, we can expand. For about anapanasati, we cannot expand. It's just breathing. If we expand, breathing from nose to face, all over the body, this is just wasting time. Expanding only the air. Not useful. Then you may also get confused about 32 body parts, right? In Paudaya, we also have to do some 32 body parts externally. It doesn't mean we are not expanding head hair. We are expanding just area of the summit. So that means we are not expanding the object, right? Head hair must be head hair. It will remain head hair. We just do some bigger area. So that means in the very beginning, head hair is like a thread, right? If we expand, head hair will be very big as a tree, something like that. We cannot expand like that, right? That's why we are not expanding the objects. Similarly, metta. We are not expanding the objects. That means living being must be living beings. Human body must be human body. We cannot make it big. It must be natural. Keep it natural. We just expand the area of the summit. It will be different. So anyway, the main thing is, in the case of Kasina, we have to expand. Light should be everywhere. Expand the light, expand the white, expand the yellow, red, black, and something like that. That's why 10 Kasina should be expanded. The rest of meditation subject should not be expanded. Then again, Aramana. The 8 objects from Buddhanosati to Maranosati. So we have already mentioned in the first column, right? On the table. So it will take ultimate reality as objects. They were taken, ultimate reality as object. Then the 4 Brahma Vihara, as we have known, Brahma Vihara means loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Then Akasananja, boundless space, and Akinjanya, nothingness, take Navatava, neither nature nor Visuddhimagga concept as object. Actually, the boundless space and nothingness jhana are also actually concept. Anyway, so now the remaining 22 takes Visuddhimagga concept as object. So all other things are only Visuddhimagga concept. So now again, jala, right? Jala means shaking. Ajala means unshaken. So here I have already listed out jala, shaken objects. The shaken objects are Abo, water kasina. So water will be shaken in the very beginning of practice. Similarly, Tejo, fire kasinas, is also shaking, moving all the time. Then again, Vayo is one kasina. They also in the very beginning shaking or moving. Aloka, the light, is also in the very beginning shaking. So Vibhobhaka, Vikitaka, Bulavaka, all these are from Asubha. Later we have to explain that one again. So the Asubha dead body corpse are also in the very beginning shaking. The Anapana, breathing meditation, is also shaking. So most of the meditators in our meditation center are practicing anapanasati. Here mentioned their parikama and ukanimitta can be shaken. So you have to remember this one. In the very beginning, your breathing can move one place to another place. It's not the problem. Shaking. Sometimes you may know only one side of breath, one side of the nose. Huh? You can know only a very subtle breath. It's changing, shaking. So this is the common. But Visuddhimagga nimitta are always stable. So that means when nimitta become very stable, we can say, is it Visuddhimagga nimitta? It must be bright also, right? Then again, we have to know that here I haven't explained the chapter yet. Anyway, when can we attain jhana? And when can we attain asset concentration? This is also a common question. So when we can attain Pratibhagga nimitta, the counterpart sign, we can attain asset concentration and absorption concentration. That's a common. Even we can study the one in Vitamata Sangha, very small books. Then the remaining 32 meditation subjects are achala and shaken objects. So we also have to remember this part, this grouping. Otherwise, we get confused. Okay, now we have the next group, Bhumi. So all the 40 meditation subjects can be practiced in human realm, which means in the human realms, we can practice all the meditation subjects, no exceptions. Of course, if we are sick, for example, our nose is not really very good, our breathing system is not really very good, then we cannot practice, right? So if we are normal person, everything is normal, we can practice. Then in the Deva realms, they cannot practice Hari particular sanya. That means they cannot practice the recollection of repulsiveness in foods because their food is no repulsives. Then asubhas. In the Deva realms, no dead body, no cause. That's why they cannot practice. Kagadasti, 32 body parts. So in Deva realms, no repulsives. That's why they cannot practice. Right? They cannot practice 32 body parts. Then again, in the Brahma words, the Brahmas cannot practice anapana. They don't have breathing. Are particular, as similar as mentioned in Devas. Sorry. The asubhas mentioned already. Then kakadasiti, as mentioned in Devarans. So these are for 5 material Brahmas. For our immaterial Brahmas, can practice their respective jhanas. Respective jhana means, for example, the first immaterial realms. In the first immaterial realms, they can practice boundless-based meditation. In the second material jhana realms, they can practice only boundless consciousness and so forth, right? So we can understand like that. Then we have the next group, Gahana. Yeah, Gahana means how we have to take the object. How can we take the object? So here I mentioned there are 3 types of taking the objects, which means there are 3 types of taking meditation objects. according to Visuddhimagga. The first one is data, seeing. Second one is Sutta, learning or hearing. 3, Putta, touching. For example, the wind kasina can be taken by seeing or touching. So when we are going to take wind kasina object, we're going to see the branches moving when blown by the winds, or the grass moving or swaying when blown by the winds. So this means when seeing, we can take objects. Another thing is touching. The when we touch our body, our cheeks, our foreheads, anywhere. When we open our shoulder, it also can touch our shoulder. So when touching, by touching also we can take one kasina object. The remaining 9 kasinas, asubhas and tachapanjaka. Tachapanjaka means head hair, body hair, teeth, nails, and skins. These are called tachapanjaka. So can be taken by seeing. When seeing, we can see it practically, right? Anapana can be taken by touching. We call putta. That is why you have to remember, we have to feel the breath breathing in the very beginning. Especially in this case, in the very beginning of practice, we must have touching place. Gradually, it will change. Later, we have to explain many things in detail in Visuddhimagga, in Anapana chapter. Again, the remaining 18 objects can be taken by learning or hearing. Ancient time, we have to listen from other people when we are going to learn. That's why we call sutta, right? Okay, now, these are the meditation subjects, how we should take in the very beginning of practice. Then again, Adi Kamika, for the first time practitioners or for beginners. So, it should be very simple. When you go to read Visuddhimagga, it will be very messy. Now, beginners cannot practice Ubbeka meditations and Arubha meditations, which means Ubbeka must start with Metta, Karuna, Mudita. After that, we must practice Ubbeka. That's why if we are beginner, we cannot practice Ubbeka meditation. We cannot attain Ubbeka jhana. Similarly, Arubha jhanas. So Arubha jhanas, the immaterial jhana also come from kasina. Without practicing kasina, we cannot attain immaterial jhana. That's why ideally we must practice and attain full jhana with one of the 9 kasinas. Again, the remaining 35 objects can be for beginners. So beginner can practice all other subjects. It depends on our temperament also, right? Okay, now today the last part, Jariya Nukula. When we talk about Jariya Nukula, about temperament and meditation subjects. So today we have to explain 2 different versions. Mostly we can find these informations in Visuddhimagga. We can also learn the same things in Vidamata Sangha. But Kutta Pata commentary, I think everybody know the suttas. Metta Sutta, Karaniya Metta Sutta, you know? So the commentary to Karaniya Metta Sutta in the very beginning, in the introductions, it mentioned the temperaments and meditation subjects, slightly different from Visuddhimagga. Okay, now we will start with, according to Visuddhimagga, 10 asuvas and descendant 32 body parts is suitable for restful temperament. So these two are opposite, totally opposite. Asuva is undesirable objects, right? We have lustful minds. When we have attachment, it must be desirable objects. That is the most suitable object, we can say like that. Then again, the 4 sublime abidance and 4 kala kasinas. So we have 4 kalas. In the very beginning, we can say Nila, Nilami, black. Pita, yellow. Lohita, red. Odada, white. So now, I don't remember which books mentioned. When I start teaching meditation in Paudoya, from time to time, we have some argument about black kasina and blue kasina. I don't know which books is maybe translation problem. It should be blue kasina. Then it should actually, there's one statement, when we are going to practice black kasina, we can also take our head hair as an object. Mostly, we Asian people have black hair. We don't have blue hair. Right? That's why it should be black kasina, not blue kasina. Anyway, so if we can practice 4 kala kasinas, this one is actually very enjoyable, also very delightful, right? For sublime abiding, also, we have a loving kindness towards living beings and so forth. So these are quite opposite to hateful temperament. That's why they are suitable. So that means these are the 4 sublime abiding and 4 kala kasinas are suitable for hateful temperaments. So again, we have the next group. The breathing meditation is suitable for diluted temperaments and circulated temperaments. This is according to Visuddhimagga and Abhidhamma Sangha. We have different explanation in Kodaka Patha commentary, as I have mentioned before, Metta Sutta commentary, Karaniya Metta Sutta commentary. And commentary to Karaniya Metta Sutta. The recollection of death is suitable for diluted temperament. It mentioned like that. They also mention breathing meditations, earth kasina, water kasina, fire kasina, one kasina are suitable for speculative temperaments. So this is according to Kodapata commentary. As we have no Karaniya Metta Sutta, right? So we can find this information in Kodapata commentary, page 198, Nyama version. Then the 4 masters call it recollections. I mean, recollection of the Buddha. That we have, according to Visuddhimagga again, right? Only this part will be different from Visuddhimagga and the Kodapata commentary. All other are similar. Okay, now for the next temperament, for faithful temperament, the 4 masters recollections mention the Buddha, that means Buddhanosati, recollection of the Buddha, Dhammanosati, the recollections of Dhamma, then Sanghanosati, the recollection of Sangha, Silanosati, the recollection of morality, Jaganosati, the recollection of generosity, and Devadanosati, the recollection of divine quality. So these 6 recollections are suitable for faithful temperament. We also have very strong faith. We also recollect Buddha's quality. We can gain faith, stronger faith. So for about like a speculative temperaments, it can be good and bad. What about hateful temperaments, deluded temperaments, lustful temperaments? They are bad. Now, according to Visuddhimagga, it mentioned the recollection of death, the recollection of peace, and the 4 element meditations are 4 meditation and Aharipatigula, which means recollection of repulsiveness in foods are suitable for intelligent temperament. Actually, these are really very deep and profound. For example, recollection of death is not that simple. Recollection of peace, we have to know something about Nibbana by learning that we can do this one. 4 element meditation. Actually, if we don't know how to be natural, it's really very problematic. Now many meditators had experience, right? They have a lot of tension, a lot of stiffness in their heads because of too much effort or unnatural discernment. So that means when we are going to practice all these things, we must be wise enough. If we are not wise enough, there will be problem. Then we have, according to Visuddhimagga, 4 kasinas: the water kasina, fire kasina, earth kasina, and wind kasina. Also, the 4 immaterial jhanas are suitable for all temperaments. Then again, here we also have mentioned something about the size of kasina objects. Among the kasinas, those with small nimittas are suitable for speculative temperaments. Okay, here we have to know what really means small. Okay, we have to say our own measurement now. It will be as big as a bowl tray in our monastery. When we are going for Brindapada, we have bowl tray, right? Made in Thailand or made in Myanmar, it doesn't matter. Bowl tray, the size of bowl tray is small size. Big size is a little bit difficult to mention here because in modern society, we don't have that kind of things. But anyway, in our area, Myanmar, like my native town, we can find that kind of things where they were trying to harvest the paddy. Also, first they were call it this, all the hay in somewhere by using bull and a cow, then they will step on it and they get out of that, they will smash all the hay and remove all the hay, only the paddy will remain there, right? It will be a little bit wider land, maybe I think around 20 to 30 diameter, maybe 30 feet diameter, maybe. So that one is called big area. So that means those unlimited nimitta for deluded temperaments. So in the very beginning, we must have very big objects. Otherwise, we may have a lot of thinking. If we're taking big objects, we have a lot of thinking. So for our deluded temperaments, it's too small, a lot of delusion, so it will be big area. So these are the subjects for the practitioners. Anyway, when we are really practicing, we have to know which one is suitable for us. If we know which one is suitable for us, then we can practice better. Ancient time, when the Buddha taught meditation, taught his disciple meditation, he had psychic power. He could reach other people's minds. That is why Buddha can give proper meditation subject. Not only that, the Buddha had special quality. We call in Bali, Asaya Nusaya Jnana. The knowledge of knowing or understanding people's tendency and inclination. With this kind of knowledge, this quality, the Buddha also can know what they need, what kind of subject is suitable for them. Then again, the Buddha also know Indriya Propriyati Jnana or Indriya Propriyaka Jnana, the knowledge of knowing the maturity of controlling faculties, how strong his faith, how strong his mindfulness, concentration, effort, wisdom. Then he could teach properly. He can give proper guidance easily. That is why many bhikkhus can attain noblehood. Many meditators can attain noblehood easily, because their teacher is a great one, the greatest one. So as we have mentioned before, in modern society, actually, we don't have Buddha, Vajjika Buddha or Arhat. Maybe Nagami, Sagadagami, Sotapanna. If we don't have noble person, it must be Vipassana practitioners, jhana attainment, or maybe Tipitaka memorizer and so forth. Right? We have to learn from proper teacher like that. Okay, so this is okay. Today we should stop here. We have already known the temperament and the meditation subject. We also have already known which subjects is or should be expanded, should not be expanded, shaken, unshaken, which subject can attain which jhana. So we have more choice. When we have jhana, we have more choice. Right? After learning how to practice, then we can also choose what we wish. If we wish to attain jhana, we must practice the jhana that can lead us to jhana. If we wish to attain only asset concentration, we must choose the meditation subjects that can lead us to asset concentration. So now, may you all be able to practice the Buddha teaching, and may you all be able to realize the final cessations and the suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Shadow, first question.
Okay.
You mentioned it is necessary to see the repulsiveness of 32 parts, but for someone who could break down the 32 part almost as soon as he focused on it, it doesn't seem repulsive, as it is only rupa kalapa. So is it okay not to see the 32 parts as repulsive, but only as anicca, dukkha, anatta?
Actually, on seeing kalapa, we cannot do anicca, dukkha, anatta. After seeing kalapas, we must be able to discern the 4 elements on it, or other materialities on it, and so forth. After that, we can contemplate them as anicca, dukkha, anatta. So it depends on what you are practicing. For example, if you are going to practice repulsiveness meditation, it must be repulsiveness. If you are going to practice vipassana, sure, we have 42 body parts, right? In the discerning materialities, we also have 42 body parts. So when we are going to practice 42 body parts, we can design 4 elements on it. We can also see the kalapas. We can also see all other materialities in every single kalapas. After that, we can also contemplate that as anicca, dukkha, anatta, something like that. It will be different. Okay, samatha or vipassana, it depends on the practitioners.
So the second question, maybe because of past life practice, a yogi can see rupa kalapa easily whenever he wishes to focus on some object or image in his mind. But how to see the 32 parts or any image clearly without them being broken down into rupa kalapa at the beginning?
Actually, rupa kalapas come from your perceptions. When you pay attention as the Rupa Kalapas, it will break down into the Rupa Kalapas. If you just see as a 32 body parts, you will see a 32 body parts. It comes from the mind. Okay? So one more thing. When we are practicing jhana, we must practice for jhana. Don't think about Rupa Kalapas or ultimate reality or four elements or anything. Sometimes it becomes very messy when we have a lot of analyzings. It's unnecessary analyzing like that. So that means don't analyze anything. They're trying to see it natural and simple. You can do it. Okay?
Vandami Siado, may I ask Siado in Pao, Toya, the Siale, their ropes, is there a lineage of the ropes design? And from when it is originated, why is there any reference for this design of the Siale ropes? Why is it different from the Sri Lankan Siale? And Siale ropes, is there any special regulations for the design?
Actually, okay. So we don't know when it started.
Hey?
Okay. So anyway, Asian time, like not only in Sri Lanka, in Thailand also, they are using white clothes, white color, right? But in Myanmar, we have different color. I have read one event that happened in Sakai. I don't remember the Sierra's name. Asian time in Myanmar also, they wear white clothes like Sri Lanka or Thailand. But I think the outer robes like we can like our upper robe, right? Upper robe is similar to like a pink color or maybe black color. I'm not sure. But their blocks is like white color, right? Then the Sierra say, no, your robe is like orange person, but your clothes is like lay person. You should change. Then they start changing gradually. Finally, and all over the country change the clothes. So some wear the yellow color, some pink color, some black color, something like that. It depends on their community. Okay. So I don't remember, maybe 100 years or maybe 200 years ago or something like that. Very far, very far. They start changing, I think. More than 100 years ago, maybe. 100 years, 200 years ago, maybe. Okay?
Okay. Sayadaw, question number 3. Wandami Sayadaw, in our life, we may be taught to have goal, try our best to achieve our goal, and not to give up easily. But related to what Sayadaw had explained today about evenness of wish, greatness of wish, discontent, how do we balance ourselves in our life? How do we know we are greed or not?
Okay. So in this case, sometimes we are greedy, you know. We are greedy means when seeing many people meditating very high level, or on hearing someone reporting very high level, we may have that kind of expectation, a lot of pressure, you know. In this case, it's not really very good. It makes his or her mind unstable. This is normal. So if we are practicing as much as we can, just what we have to do now is okay. We're gonna say discontent or greed or maybe evil wish. We're gonna say like that. So one more thing here. Sometimes we cannot do due to our sickness, for example. Then we have to get some treatment first. After that, we can come back and meditate. So it depends on situation. So, okay, briefly, when we talk about non-contentment or greed or evil wish, this is unwholesome. When we are meditating, mostly we must have wholesome minds. No more competition, right? If we have wholesome minds, we can overcome all these problems. Okay? Next one.
Wandami Sayadaw, if a person has many doubt over many things and situations and less confident on oneself and many things, How can one improve oneself step by step efficiently? Will meditation help to change one's condition?
Okay, about the doubts, I mean, if you have a lot of thinking or a lot of unnecessary analyzing, you may have a lot of doubt, then no more confidence. So sometimes it should be simple, but don't make it messy. Or okay, for example, breathing meditation, for example, right? It should be very simple. If you analyze, it will be very, very complicated. Similarly, many other things, it should be simple, but if we analyze more and more, it becomes messy and complicated. First, we have to learn how to be simple. Live simply, think simply. It will be better. The most important thing is reading more. If you have a lot of doubt, read more. Especially the Buddha teaching, right? Read more. Then, if some of the informations are very useful for you, very useful for your own confidence, remember this part, remember this chapter, remember that story. It will be easier for you to have stronger faith in yourself, in teaching, or in practice. So you also have to read, you also have to note down all the suitable subject or suitable things for you, right? It will be easier. Okay, next one.
问答一下咯。Why is that? That we take the Paramata as object. We can only attain Upachara Samadhi, but if we use Panyati as object, we can attain Appana Samadhi.
Okay, so Paramata is really deep and profound. We cannot understand easily. For example, Buddhanosity, for example, Arahant, the one who is very far from defilements, for example. Or maybe the one who has already eradicated defilements, for example. Then, what's are called defilements? Lobha, dosa, moha, mana, and so forth. Many, many defilements. Which one? Lobha. Okay. Lobha also again, there are 108 types of lobha. Very deep, very profound. The more we analyze, the more it gets deeper. So basically, we can say 10 defilements, right? Then among the 10, only lobha can be 108 types of lobha. You can imagine how deep, how profound. That's why it's really, really difficult to understand, really, really difficult to absorb on it. That's why we cannot attain jhana. For example, 4 elements. Hardness. The hardness of the teeth, hardness of the bone, hardness of the flesh, hardness of the hair, it will be different. Anyway, we have to know the hardness naturally. Gradually, if we can know only the ultimate reality without knowing any body parts, much better. Right? Without knowing any concept, then only just hardness. Then it's really, really very difficult to understand. That is why we cannot attain jhana. We can attain only asset concentration. Okay, next one.
Dear Sayadaw, someone explained that when we are practicing anapana, focusing on the in and out breath, our concentration cannot become deeper because the breath is moving. We need to focus on the static breath, then we can develop our concentration further, deeper, and able to be successful in this practice. Could Sayadaw explain if this is the correct understanding?
Actually, in the list already mentioned, Chala Samadhi, Chala means shaking, moving. It doesn't mean because of movement we cannot meditate. If like this, we cannot practice wind kasina, water kasina. They are also moving, right? So the main thing is we must know in breath, the out breath, or touching point, one of the three. This is the main point. We are not descending 4 elements. When we are talking about 4 elements, moving means 1 element. Okay? If you are descending moving, this is not anapana. This is the 4 elements. If you are descending, focus on the breath. This is anapana, not 1 element. So we have to understand 2 different things like that. Okay? This information is a little bit dangerous. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, how could one see the moving wind with open eye? Wind has not image.
Mm-hmm. If you have concentration, you can see it. So just moderately open eyes, just concentrate or focus on the breath or any other object, just concentrate first. Just trying to see grass moving when blown by the wind, or swaying when blown by the wind. On the top of the grass, you can see like a wave of the air, right? It's possible to see by the power of concentration. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, please explain in one of the Q&A session that if there's a little movement like insect moving, that can be subtle breath. Could Sayadaw explain further about this?
Okay, this means actually we just talk about touching points or touching air, right? So before we attain Visuddhimagga nimitta, there we moving. Because I always say this is Jala Samadhi, moving. Anytime it will be moving around the nursery. So it also can be, okay, this is also practical. You know, when you practice, you can practical experience because it's Jala Samadhi, shaking, right? It will move normally. So, especially when you have very much Satya breath, sometimes your breath will disappear. Other time, mostly we just remind to focus on the touching point because we have if there's in-breath, out-breath, touching point 3, right? If you cannot know in-breath and out-breath, you must know the touching points. That's fine. That's like insect crawling sensation. This is like a moving. That one is actually breathing. This is also actually touching points. So actually, I just ask them to focus on the touching point. This is the one thing. By focus on the touching point, we can also know the breathing naturally, automatically. This is the way we have to approach anapanasati, right? As mentioned, Jala Samadhi, shaking, moving. Like a crawling maybe, right? I say crawling, this means because moving. Okay?
Vandami Sayadaw, why 4-color kasina is suitable for dosa charita? 4-color kasina, how can they remove the dosa mind and how practically helps dosa charita?
Actually, sometimes when seeing the white color, we can feel peacefulness. For some people, when seeing the yellow color, like a Buddha flag, golden color, they can feel peacefulness. That's why they can calm down their mind when seeing that kind of color. It depends on their lifestyle, right? So I think, in my case, right, I like green color most of the time. Well, I live in the forest, right? Green color. When I can see green grass or trees, I feel very peaceful. That means it depends on how we grow up. It depends on the color we prefer, right? So briefly, according to the questions, we can say, if we like white color or any four color, just trying to see this one, we can calm down our minds. We can make our mind peace. That's why it will be helpful. Okay?
Second question, Anapanasati, Patavi Kasina, Apo Kasina, Fire Kasina, and Wind Kasina. How this Kasina practically helps Vitakka Charita?
Okay, so for example, Anapanasati, right? If we think about many other things, we're going to focus on Anapanasati. Now the anapanasati is focusing areas are not very big around nostril. If we have very big area, very wide area, our mind will go here and there too much. So thinking must be many objects. When we say thinking, there are many objects. But when we are going to practice anapanasati, it must be only one single object at one time around the nostril, small area. Similarly, when we are going to practice kasina, it must be only one single kasina, one single focusing point. I have already mentioned as big as bowl tray, right? We have bowl cover, right? Tray, that tray. So as big as that tray, you can see not very big area. Focus on that area with open eyes. You don't have time to think about anything. So the main thing is it depends on our willingness. If we are willing to cut the thoughts, we can focus on it. If we are unwilling to cut the thoughts, whatever object we practice, it will be useless. Right? The main thing is that we must use it properly, and also we must have willingness. Okay, next one.
Wandami Sayadaw, the Buddha said that this holy life is 100% depending on good friends. What does it mean?
Okay. So we have good friend like a Buddha. That is why we can live in a holy life. We can also attain the noblehood easily. That's why it's 100% dependent on good friends. Okay. So it should be like a Buddha. In modern community, we don't have Buddha, so we may not have 100%, right? Okay.
And Sayadaw, please explain in detail how to practice Upasamanusati, and practically what are the steps and how to acquire the object of Upasamanusati.
Actually, later we have to explain all the practice. Okay, just introduction now. In the Visuddhimagga, it will mention all the practice, all the kasina, all asava, everything. I have to elaborate one by one. Later, okay. Next one.
Vandami Sayadaw, he practiced meditation after 2 hours, then the mind become no effort, no energy. Then he do 10 minutes metta, then only he can get back his energy. So what are the causes and how to overcome this problem?
Mostly, if your efforts are up and down, you will get tired. When you have more stable efforts or just the natural efforts, you can overcome this problem. Okay.
Vandami Sayadaw, what is meant by peaceful state? Is it nibbana?
Okay. So peaceful state can be many different, right? It depends on experience. It depends on our experiences. For example, like by focus on the breath, also we can feel peacefulness. So if we say nibbana shwa, this means recollection of peace means nibbana shwa. According to today's Dhamma Talk, when we say recollection of peace, right? That means nibbana shwa. Okay.
Wandami Sayadaw, in Visuddhimagga, it mentioned about the story of a mother cow can protect herself with metta. The hunter cannot throw arrow to her. So my question is, her metta associate with wisdom or not?
Okay, so from time to time, they also can have wisdom in their life, although they don't have wisdom in their death or rebelling consciousness. It's possible. It depends, right? Okay.
Vandami Sayadaw, just now Sayadaw said Loba have 108 types of Loba. So what are those 108 types in which sutta have mentioned that?
Okay. Actually, later when we talk about the Tilasiga, right, mental fetters, we have to explain all these things also.
Is it true that Aloka Kasina and Akasa Kasina are suitable for all types of charita? And is it including those who has not attained jhana? For example, if a meditator has not attained jhana after many years, should he try to practice a kammatthana suitable for his charita? But someone have said that if tried many kammatthana and not successful, the mind will become very complicated. And if he come back to practice anapanasati or other kammatthana, it won't be successful easily. Is that true?
Sure. Yeah, sure. We don't recommend to change many subjects. Sure. It's also very common. After changing many subjects, they cannot be successful. That means we must be patient with one object. Right? Actually here we have some meditator. They have been spending here for more than 10 years. After that, they can start seeing the light or something like that. Even that kind of thing happen in Pagodoya. That's why if we are practicing one subject, be patient, trying to practice normally, naturally, you can improve. If you change a lot, when you are focused on the breath, 4 elements will appear. When you understand the 4 elements, breathing becomes very clear. It becomes very complicated, right? So I don't recommend to change object. Sure. Okay, next one.
Sayadaw said asking students to focus on touching point. For some students, when they focus on touching point, they may slowly have tension. So how should they focus on the touching point properly?
Sure. Okay. This is also one problem. Sure. If we have touching point, if you have some tension in the touching points, you can focus above the touching points a little bit, slightly far from touching points. You can know the breathing. It will be okay. So it already mentioned in Visuddhimagga. Later we have to explain Anapana chapter. You know, everything in detail I will go. According to Patisambhidamagga, according to Visuddhimagga, I will go for both texts. It will be very much in detail. Anyway, so we have to know the breathing, in-breath, the out-breath, or the touching point. When you have the problem with the touching point, you must focus on the breathing without touching. It will be much better. Sometimes without touching sensation, you cannot know the breath. Okay, you can focus a little far from the touching point. It's a little far from the skin, right? Above the skin, you can know the feeling. Try to know it as a breath. It will be okay. Next one.
May I ask? No kodo, no upanaha, but he has no kodo and upanaha, but he always has worry, sorrow, and unhappiness. Is he dosa charita, and how to overcome worry to himself, his relatives, and so on, or to future, how to overcome this worried mind?
Okay, so that means it's very far from us. For example, our relatives out of our control. And we're going to control them. So if we can help, okay, just help them. Don't expect anything to become or to do something for us. It will be safe for us, right? Rather than it's for our own future. So it's very far. We have to prepare only in the present, right? So if I'm worried about tomorrow, I will not give Dhamma Talk, right? I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Anyway, the main thing is sometimes we have unnecessary worry. You have to consider how many of objects are really, really very important for you. You can write down on the paper. For example, you may worry about your relatives, your future, for example. Write down all the things. Then also you can ask how many of them are important. Mostly we are worried about unimportant things. Not only that, some of the worry are actually unnecessary worry. Right? Then some of the worry are already thoughts. We have already solution. But we don't wish to do, or we cannot do something like that. Anyway, there are many worries. Most of them are unnecessary. This out. After that, if unimportant, delete from your memory. It will be easier. Okay?
If continuously practice anapanasati and not practice other kasina and other kamatana, in this way he persists to practice. Can he attain Maggaphala? Another part of question. Why a meditator must see Rupakalapa? And how to see Rupakalapa?
Okay, so now this is also not very practical, right? Later in the later Dhamma Talk, I have to explain all types of Rupakalapas, all the things, right? So anyway, now because of question, I have to answer shortly, very short answer, right? So when we know the Rupakalapas, we can know the smallest group of materialities on it. This is the first steps of Rupa discernment, discerning Rupa. So without knowing it, we cannot know, we cannot see the grouping of ultimate reality. The first thing we have to see Rupakalapas. How to see? Okay, it will be later. Okay, when we are in the later Dhamma Talk, when we talk about discerning Rupa, I have to explain everything in detail. Okay, now next one.
Yeah, she's pregnant for 6 months. When at night cannot sleep well, if the emotion become not good.
Okay, so
and and sometimes she become impatient to her son, which is 2.5 years old. Sorry, she is 6 months in pregnancy. At night she cannot sleep well and become emotional. And sometimes she become impatient to her 2.5 years old son, because and her son is starting to have this rebellion mind, rebellion, and how to control her emotion. And in daily life, what should she do?
Okay, if you now in the current situations, if you have habit or chanting when you get angry, it will be easier, right? You may do some chant like Buddha Sarananga Chami, Dhamma Sarananga Chami, or any chanting you can do. When you have emotion, chant, calm down, chant. Make you have it. It will be easier for you to overcome this problem. When you have calm down, you can start talking, making conversation with anybody. It will be okay.
Next question, Sarah. What kind of meditation subjects are suitable for pregnant mother?
Actually, it can be any subject. It doesn't matter. Now, in this situation, we should recommend metta, right? Because she's pregnant. Metta towards yourself, your baby, and also all the other living beings nearby you. It will be more convenient.
For Anapanasati, it is suitable for Vitakka Charita. Why in Paodoya focus mainly on teaching Anapanasati? For other meditators, there may be other charita. They have practiced Anapanasati for many years but unsuccessful. So could it be it is not suitable for them? It means Anapanasati, this kamatana is really not suitable for them. Should they change other kamatana? Or if they continue to practice Anapanasati, would they attain jhana if they are not Vitakka Charita?
Actually, in the Visuddhimagga already mentioned, all the meditation subjects are also suitable for all the charita. Now, in the list we have mentioned are the most suitable subjects. Okay, it doesn't mean unsuitable. It doesn't mean all other are unsuitable, right? That means these are the most suitable object for the temperaments. So, for example, anapanasati will be suitable for any temperament, but for Vitakachita, the most suitable. We can say like that. Okay?
Shadow, Wandami Bante, in Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha once mentioned something like what metta meditation is practiced thoroughly. The expected sampati would be that of the boundless space, arupa jhana. And then for karuna meditation, it will go up to the boundless consciousness and etc. In the last chapter of the Samadhi section in the Visuddhimagga, it also discussed this but insisted that all Brahma Vihara meditation can only arrive at one of the rupa jhana for obvious reason. Would you be able to address such discrepancy between Visuddhimagga and the Sutta? Why the Buddha said Brahma Vihara meditation practitioner can gain higher fruits in arupa jhana? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, this is some translation problem. Maybe we cannot have this kind of teaching in Majjhima Nikaya. Can you remind me which sutta? Okay, the questioner should send me which sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. Okay, later okay, questioner should send me, right?
Yeah.
The sutta. Sometimes I think it's a wrong translation. Okay, and next one.
For Buddhanusati Kamathana, the object is Paramattha object. So how to take this object?
That means, for example, the Buddha is free from defilements. It must be the mind of the Buddha that free from defilements, right? Right? Buddha's mind, that is free from defilements. We have to take the object. We have to understand that mind. That's why it's ultimate reality. Okay?
So the next question, Wandami Sayadaw, how to practice it only in bow, ekapata, datanga strict type if many devotees offer the monk food while he's eating? Question number 2, if so, can he adhitthana again to practice again this Dutanga strict type?
Only one bowl, right? One bowl eater.
Yeah, eat only one bowl.
One bowl. For about one bowl, as long as he didn't use two second bowl, is okay. Right? So, you should talk about strict one, right? Strict one.
Yeah. So the question is, how to practice eat only one bowl ekapata dutanga if many devotees offer the monk food while he is eating?
Okay. So, in this case, it doesn't mention anything about offering, right? The main thing is that he must eat only in one bowl without using any second bowl. This is the main thing. So when he accepts, he can use many cup, many bowl. It doesn't matter. When he was eating, he must use only one. He must not throw away any extra things or after eating. Even rubbish, he must not throw away in the second cup like that, right? This is like that. So if we have already practiced, we cannot determine again. If we accept many foods, right? Especially, actually you just imagine that kind of things. If they practice one bowl eater, they have a lot of contentment already. They will not accept many donations from many people, right? Okay, anyway, if they offer, he may accept, but when he eats, he must use only one bowl. This is the main point, okay? So next one.
So the next question is, can he drink milk box in this Dutanga eat in only one bowl?
Okay, this is also the problem. he must open the mix, the milk and pour into the bowl and drink like that, right? No second cup, no second box. Even he must have leaves, right? He must have leaves as a cup. So the paper pouch is a box already. No, it will be better than a leaf. That's one we should not use. Okay.
Okay. So, question part 4. To avoid forget requisite reflection, can the monk reflect requisite one time a day that I reflect before, while and after using requisite?
It's also okay. Before dawnrise, you can reflect requisite in one time. It's okay.
And that means, what is the Nibbana as object?
Later in Upasama Sati, I have to explain, right? Now it's very far from now. That's why. This is second time this question comes, right? Okay.
Raga Charita. What is the most suitable Kammatthana for Raga Charita?
So, okay, it depends on where you live. Like in foreign country, you cannot find dead body, right? Easily. Now you can do 32 body parts as reversive. It will be easier for you in modern community. Okay?
Wandami Sayadaw, are there other concentration meditation subjects other than the 40 types of subject explained today? What subject did the other ascetic practice to attain concentration in ancient time?
Okay, so in Buddha teaching, we have only these types, right? Sometimes with different angle, different approach, but the same things. For example, you may have seen sometime or one time the Buddha gave a piece of white cloth to one bhikkhu and asked, trying to wrap this one, right? Then he could attain a headship, something like that, right? Sometimes, or we may also have learned one story. The bhikkhu asked, the Buddha asked the bhikkhu to see the lotus. One seeing that he could attain a headship, something like that, right? Including second power. So in this case, we can understand when we talk about lotus, it can be red lotus or white lotus, for example. And they can write white kasina, red kasina, something like that. Piece of paper, white cloth, it can be white kasina. So it depends on the situation. The Buddha also give different subjects, but the same things. It refers to the same things. Different approach, we can say like that, right? Etta wadaja amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadeyo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadeyo Idame punyam asawakaya waham hodu. Idame punyam nibbanasa bhajayo hodu. Mama punya bhagam sabbasadanam bhajimi. Te sabbe me samam punya bhagam lavandu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.